Hello and welcome to a Justin Moving Open Hand Flow Experience. For this program, you won't need any equipment. We're going to do everything standing. So as long as you can handle standing in one spot for a relatively short period of time, you should be okay. If you need to take breaks, please do. Otherwise, just try to follow along and play with the movements. We're going to start with some basic flowing circles today, building up to some Taiji patterns. To start with, though, we want the feet about shoulder width apart. Relax the hands and the knees. Take a few deep breaths, just breathing in and out. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Letting the hands hang down from the shoulders and the shoulders drop away from the ears. So making sure the hands are loose, relaxing the palms in the center of the hand. Our first movement is going to be a frontal circle. So I'm taking my hands out to one side and around. They're tracing the same circle, the same direction. So it's like you have a pane of glass in front of you and you're just polishing or cleaning the glass with a big cloth. So I can keep my palms face out the whole time if you want to use that mental image. Or what I'd like to do is let the fingertips drop toward the floor so that everything rotates in this frontal plane. Not lifting the hands very high, it's letting everything circulate. Nice, easy circles from one side to the other. These drills are really good, and it can be very easy to spend a lot of time doing these movements. So I'm going to try not to take too much time, just going to give you an idea of some things you can play with. So this is our first circle, the frontal circle. And we are going to think about switching directions. And you can choose any point on the circle to switch directions. We're going to go around one more time. So from the bottom, I'm going to pick a point in this circle and decide to switch. And when I switch, what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw an S shape. Now that might be a backward S for you. It might be a backward S for me, but I'm going to draw an S, and now my circle is going the opposite direction. So I'm not going to count how many I'm doing in each direction. I'm just going to flow and draw circles. Shifting the weight from side to side. And again, keeping the shoulders and hands relaxed, knees unlocked, and keep breathing. So drawing two parallel circles, both hands going the same direction at the same time. And at some point, I'm going to decide I want to switch circles. So the next time my hands come around, I'm going to leave them at the bottom. So we're taking the hands around and act as if you're placing the hands on a table about level of the bottom of your rib cage. We're going to start with the hands here, slide across the floor, out to the front, and around. So instead of cleaning a window or a pane of glass this time, I'm cleaning the table. Have the hands at a constant level from the floor, shifting around and rotating, pushing away, and bringing the hands back toward the center. Nice and slow. Fingers lightly separated, feeling the weight shift from foot to foot. And just like our other circle, where we draw an S shape to change directions, I'm going to decide at some point that I want to switch and pick a point on that circle where we can switch. So this time as I come around, finding my point, draw an S, and switching directions. So we're just going to introduce all three circles at first, and you can make a whole practice and just drill these basic circles. So we'll explore in a little bit some different variations on the patterns of doing this basic circle. But right now, getting used to the feel of keeping the arms relaxed, the shoulders relax, hands relax, and shifting the weight side to side. And we have one more circle we're going to do. So I'm going to finish this circle around. As I come around, I'm going to turn the hands, palms facing each other, and circle up the front. So with the hands on either side, I come up about chest level, I push away and drop down. I'm going to turn so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm bringing the hands up the center line at about chest height. I push away and drop the hands down. You don't need to reach out so far that you lean forward. I'm trying to stay relatively vertical, keeping the weight in the center line of the body. It's almost like I have a big drum on my chest and I'm just tracing my fingertips around the surface of the drum. So the hands are about head width apart, and I come in, up, around, and out. So we're trying to use this as a moving meditation, or really a way to get in touch with how the weight shifts over the feet, how the spine moves in relation to the hips and the hands. So one more time, I'm going to figure out where I'm going to draw my S curve. And I sweep, lift, up, and around. I'll show that transition from the side a little bit, because playing with these S shapes and S curves can be a really elegant way to do some of these transitions. But right now I'm lifting in front and pulling back toward the center. All about chest height. So about navel height I start to lift, and about chest height I'm pulling in and sinking down. I'm going to do one more time and let my hands come back to rest in front of the hips. And we'll go back to our first circle. So I'm going to go out to one side, circling around, cleaning the glass. So now we have both hands moving the same direction at the same time. Do two more. So this is one. And on the second one, I'm going to switch directions. Again, switch directions. So the first variation we're going to play with is moving the hands opposite each other at the same time. Coming back to the center. So if I circle the hands away from each other at the same time, I now have a converging pattern. And we're just going to go ahead and allow the hands to converge and the wrists to cross. And I like to alternate which hand is in front. So we're going to slow it down. You can be aware of which hand is coming in front. If you allow the hands to converge, another variation is just to not allow the hands to converge. You keep them on either side of your center line. Either way. Make an S shape. And now the hands come up the center and then go away. Divergent circles. So coming up and out. Again, just alternating which hand is on top. I'm letting the hands slowly come back down. Another variation you can do with some of these circles is doing a staggered stance. So I'm going to start with 1 foot back and 1 foot forward. When I do this, I want to keep the feet about shoulder width apart, maybe a little wider, so that I'm not in a straight narrow line. I'm going to do the tabletop circle again, so keeping the hands about bottom height of the rib cage. I'm going to go around toward one side, or toward the front leg first. Keeping the top of the head tall toward the ceiling. What you'll notice here is as I come forward, I'm shifting my weight to the front foot. As I come back, I'm shifting away. That takes some weight off of that front leg, and that allows us to start thinking about loading and unloading, or even moving the foot. So I have a very nice, almost tick-tock pattern, like the ticking of a pendulum on a clock. I go to one side, and then I sway back to the other. That allows me, if I wanted to, as I come back, I can step that foot in, and I can keep circling. So with that in mind, as I come around to one side, I get lighter on the other side, and see if we can do this without stopping the movement of the hands. You're using the movement of the hands, trying to keep a constant height, keep a constant speed, and then I'm going to step out with the other foot. It's a very useful drill for weight shifting. My hands haven't changed, but I can continue the circle and add that element with the lower body of stepping and pivoting, which we'll talk about in another video. But I am going to look at switching directions. So I'm going to come around and find a spot where I can draw the S shape, and now I'm coming in and pushing out. So my hands are circling the opposite direction. Going out toward one side and coming across. And just, again, paying attention to that weight shift from foot to foot. So on our next circle around, I'm going to step that front foot in and continue my circle. So I can do that on the other side. So front foot in, and I have my weight shift. So one thing I like about these circles is you can really get lost in this movement. And stepping out with the other foot. One more time. Just so we do about the same on both sides. One more time and stepping back into the center. And bring the palms back. I'm going to rotate frontward circle. I'm not going to play with anything too complicated with this one. But we can talk about the mechanics of the spine as we do this. Getting a little bit of the spinal wave. Bring the hands in and tuck the hips under. Shoulder blades come back, push out, shoulder blades forward and round the back. So come in, roll up, push out, roll down. Just trying to circle the hands and coordinate that spinal movement. Again, finding one spot in that circle, just switch direction. I dive, sweep, lift. So we have three basic patterns. There's a frontal circle, a tabletop circle, and our vertical circle. And our two extra patterns we can add on to that is letting the hands move at opposite times and allowing that weight shift to help us with stepping. Let's do one final movement challenge starting from the center. So we looked at hands moving opposite direction at the same time. So our last pattern we're going to look at is hands moving opposite direction at opposite times. So I'm going to start with just one hand, either hand, and I'm circling out. And again, let your palm do whatever it can face in or out. I'm just circling, drawing a circle out toward the outside. This pattern is called waving hands like clouds from Taiji. And I'm just doing one hand. So we'll do one more circle around with this hand, circle, and switch. Feeling your weight shift side to side. And feeling the outward movement of that hand, coming up and pushing away toward the outside. Now when I add the other hand, it's going to start when the other hand goes out. This is our tricky drill for the day. I'm going to push away with one hand and then push away with the other hand. So I'm circling out, let it go, circle out, let it go. So at first it might feel like you're doing a windmill. But I circle one hand away and forget the other hand, let it drop. Circle away and let it drop. As you get more comfortable with this pattern, try to keep both circles moving. And then slow it down. So to end with, we're going to come back to where we started and circle both hands at the same time in toward the center for 6. Lifting up, extending up, and pulling down. As I come up, I'm going to lift forward toward the toes and reach to the fingertips just a little bit. And as I come down, press the palms down and sink into the heels. One more time. And stepping the feet into the center. So thank you very much for joining us with an open hand.